Okay, welcome to the first three sections of the Introductory to Algebra module. So the first thing we're going to do is define what we mean by algebra. But essentially it's a branch of mathematics that uses symbols to represent unknown quantities, and it involves the manipulation of expressions and equations which contain these unknown quantities or symbols, as well as numbers. So let's just talk about the notation. Now the notation is very similar to the operations module, but there's a couple of new things that we need to talk about. The first one are variables. These variables can represent the unknown quantities and are usually letters from the alphabet. So they can represent, say, length, width, height, time in an equation. Another name for a variable is a pronumeral, a bit of an old-fashioned word, and you do see it around every now and then. So let's talk about an expression. So an expression is a collection of variables or numbers linked together by one or more mathematical operators. Here's a few examples here. So you can see that addition, multiplication, subtraction, division are the operators. Okay, so let's talk about what makes up an expression. Okay, expressions can be made up of terms which are added to other parts of the expression. Terms can be numbers or products of numbers and variables. So we've got a few examples here where one skill we need to develop is the ability to identify the terms in an expression. So terms are usually separated by plus or minus signs, where the minus sign is included as part of the term. So this first one has 4 terms, 8, 3 times 2, 5, and negative 5. So remember that the negative sign is part of the term. It belongs to the term. So this one here has its terms of negative 27, 5t, negative 7a, and negative 3 times 5. Let's look at the last example. See how it's between the plus and the minus signs, and the minus signs is part of the term. There's no need to simplify, because the question's not asking that, it's just asking to list the terms in their current form. So here's an activity for you to do. See whether you can identify the terms in each of the expressions. Okay, there's different types of terms. There are constant terms and variable terms. So constant terms are terms that only contain numbers, and variable terms are terms that contain one or more variables in the term. So here's an example where we're going to identify the constant terms and the variable terms. Now remember that the negative sign is part of the term. So the green ones are the constant terms. So any term that just contains numbers are constant terms. So the variable terms are the ones in yellow. Remember, the negative sign is part of the term. So the variable terms are 5t and negative 7a. Okay, once again, I've highlighted the constant terms in green. Remember, they include the negative sign as part of the term. And the variable terms are in yellow. So here's an activity for you to do. See whether you can identify the terms. Numerical coefficient of a term. So what the numerical coefficient is just the number part of a term. So we've got a few examples here. It says find the numerical coefficient for the terms with the variable a. So the numerical part in this case here for that one would be -7. Here's an activity. See whether you identify the numerical coefficient of the following questions. So just more definition things. A sum is when terms are added together. So we've got to have the plus sign. Factors. A product is an expression where two or more factors are multiplied together. So quite often, once again, we've done this earlier in operations. So the first thing we do is identify the number factors first, and we do all the variable combinations after it. So as you can see, what I've done here is listed the number ones and written the combination of the letter ones underneath. Remember, 1A is the same as writing A. So here's an activity for you to do. There's plenty more in the book.